Hi everyone, welcome back to Baylor Media. If you're new, hi, I'm Hope, your host of Baylor Media, and as you can tell by the title, today we're going to be breaking down Wednesday, December 4th, 2024, all of the AP top 25 games. We're gonna hop right on into it because there's a lot of games tonight, and it is Wednesday, and the games start in about an hour and a half, so I want to try and get this out before. If not, I am filming this before, so if I'm really accurate about them, I'm not cheating. But if I'm also really inaccurate, we'll see. I really want to start doing it where I'm going to start keeping tally, like if I predicted they'd win, like my percentage, because I've been seeing that kind of over the place, like percentage of guessing correctly, and I want to start doing that. Okay, so first game coming on at 6:15 p.m. or it might be Central Time. I don't remember. I live in Texas, so I go by Central Time. But it's Florida versus Virginia. My personal prediction is that Florida wins and covers the 16.5 point spread. I think Virginia is horrible. I said it. They're so unenjoyable to watch. They play so slow. They can like barely score 50 points. Like I can't stand it. I love a fast-paced team. I loved Florida last year. I'm also looking at my computer at my notes, so if I'm looking over here, that's why. But this is what I had to say. Virginia only managed to beat Manhattan University by 9 points, which raises concerns about their ability to handle tougher opponents because they can't play defense. They can play really good defense, but they can't score the ball. Florida does shoot a lot. They're kind of like Alabama on that aspect, but I don't think Virginia will be any test to them. On the other hand, I said Florida had a very impressive win over Wake Forest. Hunter Salas on Wake Forest is insane. They beat them 75-58, and I feel like this performance showed both their offensive and defensive capabilities. So I am going to safely say that Florida wins 85 over Virginia. The score will be 85 Florida, 67 Virginia. Okay, moving on to this next game, I'm really excited. So I got a TCU, if you can't tell by this little poster right here, but I despise Baylor. And tonight at 6:30, number 15 Baylor is taking on, also Florida is ranked 13th. I didn't say that. Number 15 Baylor is taking on number 25 UConn. Overall prediction, UConn wins. I am really unimpressed by UConn and Baylor this season. Like really unimpressed. Watch us like come back to bite me in the butt and then one of them wins national championship, but I just don't see it happening. I just really don't. So here's my reasoning. Baylor has been really underwhelming this season for me. They faced two ranked opponents and lost badly to both. I'm a Gonzaga fan, so I was really happy to see them lose by like 40 to Gonzaga. That was really awesome. It was a blowout. And then also my like videos are going to be like biased because I like certain teams and I want to like support them, but also like if I think they're going to lose, I'll predict them to lose, but also like I'm an optimist. Like I always think my team's going to win. It kind of hurts me sometimes. But also Baylor lost to Tennessee by 15. Tennessee is amazing, but a 15-point loss, if you're a good team, you're going to win, I believe, at least one of one top 25 matchups. If you can't win either, like there's something wrong. And then UConn, let's not leave them out, has not been great this season either. The Maui Invitational was actually embarrassing for them. A 5-3 record is terrible. Like, how is UConn 5-3? That's crazy. But I do think UConn will win because it is a home game for them. I feel like that just gives a slight edge in my mind. One of my guy friends told me that if two teams are even, they're playing the home team, they automatically get like point +3 on a spread. Like they're gonna win by 3 points, just like home court advantage, which like makes sense. So hence why I did 75-72 UConn wins. So let's move on. This is going to be a quick one. Memphis versus Louisiana Tech. Memphis is ranked 16th. The game's on at 7. I do like Louisiana Tech. Haven't watched them at all. Know nothing about them. They're obviously in a lower conference, but I don't know. They're 7-1. I think they can play tough, and Memphis is a gritty team. Like, you do not want to mess with Memphis. I just get that vibe immediately watching them. I go to TCU, so there will be a lot of TCU references on this podcast, but I do think that PJ Haggerty, he's a sophomore there because he redshirted at TCU his freshman year. I wish he was still here. Really sad he left. He averages like 20 something points a game. I want to say over 20 a game. Absolutely insane. Memphis is scary this year. Like, they're going to be really good. I've always liked Memphis. I always think they're really enjoyable to watch. They always have like some sort of like controversy going on. I feel their players always are like in and out. Mikey Williams used to go there. People are always transferring out. But I don't know. I find it entertaining. So I don't like real life drama. I like basketball drama. But anyways, I do think Memphis wins. I don't know what the spread is. I think it's 10, and I believe it's at Memphis. It definitely should be at Memphis. I do think Louisiana Tech is going to, would it be like meet the spread? I think they're going to like lose by less than 10. I do think Memphis is going to win 84-70. Oh, just kidding. Maybe the spread was 13. It was either 10 or 13, and I said that Memphis will win 84-74. I said Louisiana Tech is sitting at 7-1, shows they can play tough, but Memphis has the edge and the overall quality and will ultimately pull away. So that's what I said. I also think it could be an absolute blowout, and Memphis could beat them by like 20. So 25. I don't know. That's just my prediction. This game, there's like so many good games today. I'm like, oh, there's so many good games, guys. Okay, next one coming up at 7:15. We have number 10 Alabama versus number 20 North Carolina. This is gonna be such an enjoyable game. Coming from someone who loves a fast-paced basketball game, this is as fast-paced as you're gonna get, my love. So my prediction, I'll get to my prediction at the end because I don't know if people are gonna agree with me. People will, but I said Alabama has had some impressive wins. They beat solid teams like Rutgers, Houston, and Illinois. I love Rutgers. I love their freshman 5-star, like all McDonald's, like they're all McDonald's. Yeah. All American, like McDonald's, something. McDonald Player of the Year, something like that. They have like 5-star guys, and I love watching young freshmen absolutely thrive. So I've really enjoyed watching Rutgers this year. Even in Alabama's loss to Purdue, they kept it close, losing by only 9. I will say, I'm not a Purdue fan, and I feel like Purdue is going to underperform this year. I just think they've kind of lost their edge. They don't have Zach Edey anymore. I don't know the guy's name, but I think he's a grad student. He transferred over to Duke. A lot going on with Purdue, but they're obviously still a good team. On the other hand, North Carolina does have a home court advantage, which I basically said earlier, essentially adds 3 points to their side based on how the spread works. That's kind of how I like to think of it in a simple way. I think that, I'm not going to lie, I had ChatGPT like help me write some of this, so if it sounds a little weird, it wasn't my writing fully. But I said that North Carolina has showed flashes of greatness playing Kansas, close at Kansas, which is huge. If you can play close at Allen Fieldhouse and not, like, if you play close for a while and then Kansas runs away, that's pretty typical. But, like, if you can stay close with Kansas the whole game, you're a solid team. Obviously, North Carolina is a solid team. I'm kind of stunned they're ranked 20th. I know they're 5-3, I think, but I don't know. I just feel like it's crazy to see them ranked that high. But however, they did lose to Auburn by 13. With that being said, Auburn's legit. I really think Auburn is really good this year. I don't know, but it's still kind of a concerning margin, in my opinion. 13 points, that's a lot to lose to when you both are like top 10 teams. I think that's a lot. I do think Alabama's ability to hit threes will be the deciding factor for this game, which should make it a high-scoring, entertaining game. So guys, tune into that game. In my prediction, North Carolina is favored, I think, but I'm saying Alabama's going to win 92-87. I don't know. I feel pretty good about that one. I feel pretty good. Okay, next game. They just keep getting better. Marquette versus Iowa State. We have a top 6 matchup going down in Ames tonight. Gonna be a great game. So excited. But here's my thing. I really like Marquette. I think I watched them play once this year. I've always been like, I just have enjoyed Marquette as a team. I think they have good balance. They're not like they're athletic, but they're not like, they don't get all the top recruits. Like they work with what they have, but they're like so fast and enjoyable. So that's what I had to say. Marquette is the real deal. They've been dominant and consistent, blown out teams they're supposed to beat, which is something many other good teams haven't done this season. Like, I don't know. I just feel like good teams this year have not been doing what they're supposed to do all the time. They've also racked up some great wins, beating Maryland. I view Maryland and Rutgers kind of on the same playing field. I feel like they both got top 5 recruits, freshmen coming in that are freshmen, so they're kind of even in that way. They beat Purdue, obviously a good team. Georgia was kind of on a run for a while. They were undefeated. I think they were like 6-0. They lost to Marquette at least, but yeah, they're good. They beat 3 teams back to back. Which is an impressive streak. Iowa State, however, has a strong defense, but I will say I don't think it so far is as good as their defense was last year. They're giving up a lot more points than they did last year, but on the other hand, they're scoring the ball a lot more this year. Like, a lot more? I feel like last year they never, I could be wrong, but I feel like they never really averaged over 80. And then this year I'm like looking at their results and I'm like, they're putting up like high 80s. And I'm like, who is Iowa State this year? I'm scared to play them. TCU, guys, I'm going to stick with Gonzaga this year because TCU is not looking good. Refreshing. Matches, my shirt matches my water bottle. Okay. Iowa State clearly has had a good start to this season. They have wins over Dayton, which is, Dayton's kind of come out of the blue. They've always kind of been in the picture, but they're like really good this year. And they barely lost to Auburn by 2, which I think is really impressive because I think Auburn is really good. But I also have some thoughts on Auburn, which we'll talk about later, I think. And since this game is at Iowa State, the home court advantage could be the difference. I think it will be close, possibly coming down to free throws in the final minutes. With that being said, I want to pick Marquette. Like, something in my gut is like telling me to, but I'm also just like a realistic approach. Like, Iowa State should win because they're at home, and playing at Iowa State is like somewhat comparable to playing at Kansas. Like, you don't lose at home if you go to Iowa State. Like, Iowa State does not lose at home. So I don't know. It should be a really good game. I'm rooting for Marquette, but I think it's going to be a really good game either way. Quickly going over this one because I'm trying to get down. Actually, I'll do the Auburn-Duke game right now because I feel like that's the most enjoyable one that I have left. So I think that for Auburn, ranked number 2, playing at Duke, ranked number 9, at 9:15 tonight is going to be a battle. I'm so excited. I feel like anything played at Cameron is like such a good game, but I did have some like funny notes to say, so let's get into it. Auburn has been on fire recently, but to me the question is whether it's just a hot streak or if they're really this good. I don't see them being like the next UConn. I don't, but I think they're really good right now. That they always are on a really hot streak before they go to the tournament. Not that we're anywhere near the tournament, but before going into the tournament, they're always super hot and then they like lose their first game. So I don't know if they are legit this year or if they're just kind of getting hot at the right time, which is now. But will they stay this hot the whole time? We shall see. But yeah. Duke, on the other hand, they crushed their weaker opponents, which is a sign of a good team. However, in close games against elite teams like Kansas and Kentucky, Duke fell short both times. And I personally have like kind of derived this thought process in my head that great teams find a way to go 1-1 in those situations. You don't have to beat Kentucky and Kansas, but I believe the Kentucky game was at Duke. You should win at home. You should win at home. Those are non-negotiables. Like, you need to win at home, and I get that it's Kentucky. I get that it's a Kentucky. It is Kentucky, but you need to win at home. I don't care who you are, how good you are. You need to win at home. So I feel like I'm questioning Duke a tiny bit if they're as good as we always think that they're going to be. Cooper Flagg, hat off to you. He's insane. I really like him. Seems like a humble guy, but I don't know. That's what I had to say about that. For all of that, the game is at Duke, and we all know how officiating tends to go in their favor at home. Just gonna leave that there. Despite that, I think Auburn stays hot and pulls off a win in a tight game. I do. I think that Auburn is just gonna. Auburn plays bully basketball, and Duke, which could be an issue with the refs. That just came to my head. The refs might think they're too tough and that they're being too hard on their little Duke boys, and then foul trouble might be an issue. But if we're staying positive and thinking that it's going to be a fair game, which when it's played in Cameron, it's probably not a fair game. But I'm obviously somewhat kidding. But all in all, I think despite all of that, I think Auburn is good enough to pull off a win against Duke at Duke's home court, 74-70. We shall see. Okay, we're going to kind of rapid fire through these last couple because they're not as entertaining. So at 8:15 p.m., we have number 18 Pittsburgh versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State's been really good this year. They're like 6-1, and Pittsburgh is 7-1, I want to say. I haven't watched either of these teams this year, but Pittsburgh has had some notable moments. They beat Ohio State, who was ranked for like a minute, and then I think they started losing a little bit, but Ohio State is a good quality caliber team. They also played Wisconsin. I don't think they beat Wisconsin. Let me look. Yes, so Pittsburgh played Wisconsin, lost to them 81-75. Not a bad loss. So Pittsburgh played Wisconsin during like the Thanksgiving tournaments, lost them 81-75 on a neutral court, which I think is valid. I think that's a good turnout, honestly, because I think Wisconsin is a very good team. It shows that they can compete against high-level opponents. With that being said, Mississippi State at home is making it a little bit of a tougher call, but I do think that Pittsburgh has the edge overall. I just think that they're a little more dynamic and a little bit more well-suited to go on the road and beat a decent Mississippi State team. So I think that the score is going to be 75-73, and Pittsburgh is going to win. Okay. This was like supposed to be a really exciting game. Kansas, number 1 versus Creighton, but it is at Creighton, which I think helps the spread a little bit. But unfortunately, Creighton is dealing with a huge setback without Stephen Ashworth. I believe he is still out. That's their 3-point shooter. That's like their guy. So without him, Creighton loses a major weapon, and against a team as talented as Kansas, like 9 times out of 10, you're not going to win. Like 9.5 times out of 10, you're not going to win. And so I think that's a big problem for Creighton. As we've seen, without Ashworth, they've dropped to like 5-3. They're not even ranked anymore. I think they started the season at least top 12. I want to say they were ranked 12 at one point. And Kansas should be able to win this one comfortably, but I think it'll be competitive. I thought that it'd be not a blowout, but like 12-point game. But then I was looking at the spread and it was saying it was 6 points. I understand that it's at home. I do get that. But I'm like, I don't know. I think it's going to be a little bit worse than that. I think it's going to be 76-68. Honestly, I think if Creighton can keep it within 10, like, that's pretty impressive without, like, your main guy. All right, we got our last 2 games. We're going to wrap it up real quick. We got number 12 Oregon versus USC. Okay, we'll start talking a little bit about USC. They have a major issue. Like, they struggle to score consistently. I don't know who they were playing, but they scored 36 points in that game. USC scored 36 points against St. Mary's. That they cannot score 40 points against St. Mary's. St. Mary's is good, but, like, not that good. Like, their defense isn't that good. I went and looked at St. Mary's other box scores and, like, other teams they played, and the other teams easily scored, like, 60, 70. So, like, USC just could not score that game, I guess. Eric Musselman, what is going on? What's going on? But, yeah, I don't know about that. Meanwhile, I think Oregon might be the hottest team in college basketball right now besides Auburn. They've racked up impressive wins against Texas A&M, who was ranked 20th when they played, Alabama, and San Diego State. I'm not as impressed by San Diego State. They're kind of in. But A&M, Alabama, it's Alabama, guys. Like, that's a good game. With Oregon's momentum and USC's offensive struggles, I think Oregon will take this one relatively comfortably. I think because this is at USC again, so I think the spread was like 6. But I think Oregon wins 74-67. I want to say they're going to win by more, but just to be comfortable, we're going to go with the 74-67 win for Oregon. All right. So, last game of the night. Speaking of San Diego State, they're ranked number 24, and they're playing Fresno State. But I literally put in my notes, I don't know anything about I don't know much about Fresno State. I looked them up. I just know that they're 4-3 or 3-4. So, not good. But San Diego State typically plays a slower paced game, which I think is important to note. I think they're playing a little bit faster this year, just looking at their box scores. I said that San Diego State has had some big wins recently. They beat Houston, which, like, I need to be a little bit more respectful because, like, anyone who beats Houston at least can score decently because Houston's defense is crazy. But Houston's not as good this year. They've had a couple losses already. In Creighton, I don't know if San Diego State beat them when Stephen Ashworth was out or when he was there, but still a win over Creighton is still a good win. They lost to Oregon by 10, which was, like, tough, but, like, it's also Oregon, and I think they're, like, one of the best teams in the country right now. So I think losing by 10 is, like, still a respectful loss, you know? It's a little much, but, like, it could be a lot worse. The spread for this game is 13, but I think San Diego State will cover it. I don't know anything about Fresno State, and I didn't honestly really care to, like, dive into it, but I think that San Diego State, with their wins and, like, ability to score the ball decently, I think they'll take the win 74-60, and that's the predictions for the night. I'm really excited to see how well I do. Let's do a little recap of just who I think is going to win. Florida versus Virginia, I think Florida is going to win 85-67. For Baylor versus UConn, I think UConn wins 75-72. For Memphis versus Louisiana Tech, I think Memphis is going to win 84-74. For number 10 Alabama versus number 20 North Carolina, I think that Alabama wins 92-87. For number 5 Marquette versus number 6 Iowa State, I think Iowa State wins 75-71. For number 18 Pittsburgh versus Mississippi State, I think Pittsburgh wins 75-73. For number 1 Kansas versus Creighton, I think that Kansas wins 76-68. For number 2 Auburn versus number 9 Duke, I think that Auburn wins 74-70. For number 12 Oregon versus USC, I think that Oregon wins 74-67. And last but not least, number 24 San Diego State versus Fresno State, I believe that San Diego State wins 74-60. Those are all my predictions for Wednesday. There are not really any great games until this weekend, so I really hope that you guys enjoyed this Wednesday recap of all top 25 AP, all of the AP top 25 teams playing Wednesday, December 4th, 2024, and my predictions, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!